Good morning. We can get a little more together than that. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, that was very good. All right. Welcome to the Unitarian Coastal Fellowship. We are people of all ages, races, classes, ability levels, sexual orientations, gender identities, and national origins. And we are all part of an interdependent web of existence. We believe in deeds, not creeds, and that we need not be like-minded to be like-hearted. I am the interim minister here, the Reverend Micah C. Ma, and with me today are worship associate Marilyn Cullison, choir director Tom Cullison, and accompanist Megan Smith. Shout out to tech. Looks like we have Karen and Harriet on tech today. Thank you guys for making things happen for the folks on Zoom. And we offer a special welcome to those joining us on Zoom. Cameras back there, give them a wave. Hello, Zoomland, we love you. Now, do we have any visitors in the sanctuary today? Is this your first time here? Raise your hand if this is your first time here. Okay. Would any of you who are raising your hands right now like to introduce yourselves? Oh, suddenly crickets. That's okay. You may not have signed up for public speaking today. All right, and now, wearer of many hats, she's on the search committee, she's on the board, she's Miriam Green. She has some announcements for us.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, we have lots of good news today. First is Meatless Mondays are back. Those of you who remember the Unitarian Coastal Fellowship from the before times may remember that we used to have Meatless Monday potlucks here. We're finally bringing them back on months that have a fifth Monday, which means that our next Meatless Monday potluck is October 30th at 6 p.m. It's gone. Okay. The goods and services auction is less than a month away. This is our major fundraiser for the year. We need your auction items. Please see this week's wave for more information, including links to previous auction catalogs and the online donation form. You can also find donation forms in the social hall. This is a great function for UCF and a lot of fun and a way to get rid of some things that you'd like to have as people have as house gifts. And a big thank you to all of our volunteers who worked on the Seafood Festival last weekend. Will all of our Seafood Festival volunteers raise their hands? Whoa, a lot. Thank you, congratulations. The Seafood Festival people will let us know later how much money we raised for us. Okay. Now, I invite everyone in the sanctuary to please silence your phones, and all those on Zoom, turn off your camera to conserve bandwidth. Thank you. And now, please turn and greet your neighbor.
Beloveds, we gather today as seekers of truth and knowledge, seekers of wisdom and wit, seekers of justice and equity. We search knowing that it is not the destination but the journey itself that brings truth and knowledge, that brings wisdom and wit, that brings justice and equity, that it is the journey, it is the search that brings an encounter with the divine. May we ever be more courageous seekers. May we always find the company of more seekers, for it is in seeking and searching together that we build beloved community. I invite everyone to repeat after me, "Come, let us worship together."
Our chalice lighting words this morning are by Leslie Pohl Kosbau, and it's number 451 from our gray hymnal. Flame of fire, spark of the universe that warmed our ancestral hearth, agent of life and death, symbol of truth and freedom, we strive to understand ourselves and our earthly home. We light also a peace candle to remind ourselves that peace is a process that requires work, that peace is not merely an absence of conflict, but the presence of justice. And our opening hymn is number 381, From All That Dwell Below the Skies, and it's in the gray hymnal. I invite you to stand as you're willing and able.
From all that dwell below the skies, let hope and song with faith arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung, through every land, by every tongue.
Now, let's say you have a favorite cup. Does anyone have a favorite cup? Maybe it's one here at church, or maybe it's one at home. Yeah. Now, let's say I took your cup without asking. What would we call that? Stealing. Yeah, that's stealing. Borrowing is if you ask first. Okay, now let's say I took your cup without asking, which we also call stealing, and I broke it. I know, it was an accident. I wasn't careful. I dropped it on our polished concrete floors here, and it broke. Now let's say that after I broke your cup, you kept coming up to me saying, "Hey, you stole my cup and broke it." And I kept saying, "Nuh-uh, no I didn't. You're imagining things. You made that up. Did anyone actually see me even steal that cup? Huh? Actually, you gave me that cup. You don't remember, but you gave it to me as a present." That would be crazy, right? Yeah, so that's what the United States government did to the Native Americans. I know. So hundreds of years ago, Europeans came to this country and took land that the Native Americans had been living and using for hundreds and thousands of years. They tricked the Native Americans, fought and killed them, and chased them out of their lands. And that's how we come to be living here today. This was originally Native American land. And so that's why sometimes today you'll see people doing something called a land acknowledgement. Has anyone ever been to an event where there was a land acknowledgement in the beginning? Yeah, a few people. So land acknowledgements have been practiced since the 1970s, but they have become more common in the last few years. Like now people are bringing them up sometimes at the Oscars and at other big public events. So a land acknowledgement is a formal statement at the beginning of a public or private event that acknowledges that the event is taking place on land that was originally inhabited by indigenous peoples. So in Canada, they might say, if you were in southern Alberta, they might say that an event is taking place on the land of the Siksika, which is a Canadian First Nation, also known as the Blackfoot. In New Zealand, they might say that an event is taking place on Maori land. So if I were to do a land acknowledgement right now, I might say something like, we acknowledge that we are on the land of the Nusiak and Lumbee peoples. If we wanted to, we could say a little bit more about that, about where the Nusiak and the Lumbee people are today. Because the Native Americans aren't gone. They're still here, fighting for their rights and trying to teach us how to live with the earth, just like how they lived with the earth hundreds and thousands of years ago. The US government has tried to force Native Americans to assimilate and forget their languages and their culture, but they have worked really hard to resist that. Some people say that land acknowledgements aren't enough. Let's go back to the cup example. You remember that example I used with the cup, and I stole the cup, and then I broke the cup, and then I kept saying, there's no cup here, I don't know, you're making things up? Now I'm saying, okay, oops, I did steal and break your cup. So that's like a land acknowledgement, just saying like, yeah, I did take your cup, I did it without asking and I broke it. But it would be better if I did a little more than that, right? Like if I really took your cup and broke it, you'd also maybe like me to say that I'm sorry that I broke your cup and maybe get you a new cup or help glue the old cup back together. So that's like how we still need to do more to repair the harm that we've done to Native Americans and to indigenous people all over the world. I wonder what we can do to fix things with our Native American neighbors. Let's all wonder about that together, okay? Megan's gonna give us a little piano while we wonder about that together. How can we help fix things with our Native American neighbors? And now, every week, we practice a ritual called Joys and Concerns, sometimes also called Joys and Sorrows. It's a time when we lift up our celebrations and also our sadnesses. As one of my heroes, Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, used to say, anything that's mentionable is manageable. And so the more we talk about it, the more we can do something about it. And that includes our feelings and the things that are on our minds. And so in a moment when the music begins, I invite everybody who wants to partake in the ritual to get up and line up against the far wall over here where we have the triptych on the wall, and come around to the front. We have a basket of shells and stones and sea glass, and I invite you to take as many or as few as represent whatever's on your heart, whether it's happy or sad or angry or frustrated or confused. And you can leave them in our beautiful glass chalice of water here. If anyone has a personal joy or concern that they'd like me to read aloud to the congregation, we have some slips of paper over there that you can write on, leave in the basket, and after I share our world and community joys and concerns, I will also read aloud the joys and concerns in that basket. Last Wednesday, October 11th, was also National Coming Out Day. We hold in our hearts all those who have come out in what are some very trying times for the LGBTQ plus community, and those for whom it is not safe yet to come out. We hope that someday it will be safe for everyone, and that there will be no more need for people to hide who they are. And this stone is for the Palestinians in Gaza. Thousands of Palestinians have fled in advance of an Israeli invasion, which is to avenge an attack from Hamas. And supplies of food, water, and medicine are running low. I must emphasize that this is not about who is right or who is wrong. This is about humanity. There are no victors or enemies here. There are no victors or enemies here, only victims of anger, hatred, fear, and oppression. And a little closer to home, our beloveds Ron White and Jackie Burns both have COVID and are unfortunately in different states. Jackie is in their home in West Virginia, while Ron is here in Newport. They miss each other and are worried about one another. They're a married couple, for those of you who don't know. So they miss each other and are worried about one another and ask for our prayers. Both of them welcome phone calls while they are isolating. Their phone numbers are in the Breeze online database. Also, Stormy is concerned because she is having a tooth pulled Monday. That's tomorrow. Oh no. Yikes. That is a very concerning thing. And a joy, Carol Sue is so happy to have returned. Yes, it was lovely to hear your voice at choir practice this morning, Carol Sue. Right. And now I invite everyone to join me, I think today, in a sung prayer. So this may be a song that some of you know, but if you don't, you can just hum along. There is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole. There is a balm in Gilead to heal the sin-sick soul. Let's hum that one more time. Amen, and blessed be. And now we sing our little ones out of the service. They're going to go next door and have an activity and play, and I invite everyone to join me in singing them out with our blessing song. It's a blessing you were born, and it matters what you do. What you know about God is a piece of the truth. Let the beauty you love be what you do, and you don't have to do it alone. It's a blessing I was born, and it matters what I do. What I know about God is a piece of the truth. Let the beauty I love be what I do, and I don't have to do it alone. It's a blessing we were born, and it matters what we do. What we know about God is a piece of the truth. Let the beauty we love be what we do, and we don't have to do it alone. Cha-cha-cha. And I invite everyone now into a moment of silent reflection and contemplation.
Today's reading is from John Fire Lame Deer of the Lakota tribe. Before our white brothers came to civilize us, we had no jails. Therefore, we had no criminals. You can't have criminals without a jail. We had no locks or keys, and so we had no thieves. If a man was so poor that he had no horse, teepee, or blanket, someone gave him these things. We were too uncivilized to have set much value on personal belongings. We wanted to have things only in order to give them away. We had no money, and therefore a man's worth couldn't be measured by it. We had no written law, no attorneys, no politicians. Therefore, we couldn't cheat. We were really in a bad way before the white man came. And I don't know how we managed to get along without these basic things, which, we are told, are absolutely necessary to make a civilized society.
Does anybody remember seeing this pyramid before? Maybe in high school? Yeah, that was where I first encountered the teachings of Abraham Maslow. I had to take some kind of basic psychology class my freshman year, and I remember seeing something like, probably not this exact graphic, but something similar to this graphic in my high school textbook that was captioned, Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs, at the very bottom. So, in case you can't read the words, so at the bottom we have basic physiological needs like shelter, food, water, sleep, the sorts of things that our physical bodies need to keep going. And then you move up through safety needs, which are things like security, safety, having a home, love and belonging, so having family, having friends, having community, up to esteem. So, having good self-esteem rather than poor self-esteem, feeling good about yourself, having freedom, and self-actualization, which is the desire to become the most that you can be. Kind of reminds me, that used to be an army slogan. Is that still an army slogan? Be all that you can be? I remember seeing those ads on those commercials on TV. So the idea behind this hierarchy of needs, it's called a hierarchy because the idea is that you need to satisfy those basic physical needs first before you can work on the rest. And when you have everything on the bottom, that's when you can work on the things that are at the top. But You knew there was a but coming. Fun fact, it turns out Maslow never actually depicted his hierarchy of needs as a pyramid. He wrote about them in an essay that was published in 1943, but he didn't actually include a diagram of a pyramid in that essay. This pyramid was made later by scholars of Maslow's work who wanted to make an easy visual shortcut that could be used in presentations and textbooks, because as anyone who has spent 15 minutes on Instagram knows, we love an infographic. Why read paragraphs and paragraphs when you could just, look at a picture, right? So when they did that, it probably did, though, oversimplify what Maslow was actually trying to say in his 1943 paper, which was titled A Theory on Human Motivation. All of this that I'm about to say, by the way, is research that was mostly conducted by Teju Ravilo-chan, the founder of the mutual aid nonprofit Gather4, which is currently piloting in Brooklyn, New York. He wrote a very good essay about all of his research that you can find online titled, Could the Blackfoot Wisdom That Inspired Maslow Guide Us Now? In 1938, 5 years before Maslow ever published that paper with his hierarchy of needs, he spent 6 weeks at Siksika, also known as the Blackfoot Reserve in southern Alberta, Canada. That's a photo of him from that time. Maslow went to Siksika to test his theory that social hierarchies are maintained by the dominance of some people over others. To see whether that was universally the case, he needed to check on how different cultures maintained their hierarchies. What he found at Siksika was not really much in the way of hierarchy at all, actually. In Siksika, everyone cooperated with each other, everyone had food, there was little to no inequality, there was restorative justice. What Maslow found at the reserve was a place where self-actualization, that desire to be all that you can be, to be the best version of yourself, was the norm rather than the exception, where for the most part people were the best versions of themselves. The first week that Maslow was there, he witnessed a giveaway ceremony where members of the tribes arranged their teepees in a circle and publicly piled up everything that they'd collected in the past year. So food, weapons, clothing, art, you name it, they put it all outside of their teepees. And the ones who had the most possessions would then tell stories about how they'd acquired all this stuff. Maybe they traded it, maybe it'd been gifted to them, maybe they hunted it, and then they would give it all away. These people were considered the wealthiest people in the tribe, not because they had the most possessions, they'd just given everything away, but because they were the most generous. And so the wealthiest among the Blackfoot were the ones who had almost nothing. Meanwhile, the white European Americans who lived in a village nearby shocked Maslow with their meanness and racism. Maslow wrote about them in his journal, "The more I got to know the whites in the village, who were the worst bunch of creeps and bastards I'd ever run across in my life." Those are his words. I am not inserting those words there. The more it got paradoxical. And it's not only the Blackfoot who have a practice like this. Dana Arvizo, the executive director of the Potlatch Fund and member of the Navajo tribe, remembers a time she asked Native communities in the Cheyenne River Territory about poverty. This is a quote from her. "They told me they don't have a word for poverty," she said. "The closest thing that they had as an explanation for poverty was to be without family. They were saying it was a foreign concept to them that someone could be just so isolated and so without any sort of a safety net or a family or a sense of kinship that they would be suffering from poverty." The Blackfoot, the native communities of the Cheyenne River Territory, the Navajo, and other First Nations, in all of those cultures, it is the community's responsibility to meet the needs of the individual. The onus is not on the individual to sort of pull themselves up by their bootstraps or scrabble out some kind of living for themselves. Of course, this makes sense when you consider how tied to place and tribe indigenous cultures are. When you grow up in the tribe and you spend your whole life with the tribe, you have to cooperate. You have to trust each other. There's no cutting people off in the tribe. So everyone has to learn to forgive each other and share resources and wisdom. Taking care of your neighbor becomes the same as taking care of yourself. There's no point in stealing from your neighbor because it would be the same as stealing from yourself. Hence, no locks, right? No thieves, no jails, no criminals. You share everything anyway. And then it becomes part of your culture, and you pass it down to your children and your grandchildren that this is how we live. We are a community that is responsible to and for one another. And communities are more efficient at meeting everyone's needs anyway than each of us trying to meet all of our needs on our own, right? In a community, while one person is cooking food, someone else can be looking after the children, someone else is focusing on safety and security, while yet another person is negotiating a peace treaty with another tribe. Contrast that to nuclear families in the United States today, where often both parents are working, so they either have to pay for daycare or hire a nanny who will watch the kids, unless there's a grandparent who lives nearby who doesn't mind babysitting every day. And then when the parents get home, they have to cook dinner, get the kids ready for bed, and then maybe they have time to watch an hour of television before they fall asleep. How is anyone supposed to self-actualize under these circumstances? Mostly they don't. Maslow wrote in his paper that was published in 1943, I remind you, that people maybe have 10% of their self-actualization needs met. All of us are 10% on the way to being our best selves. Contrast again with the First Nations or Native American view. In the First Nations view, people start out self-actualized. People start out with, you might say, an inherent worth and dignity. Where have we heard that before? Does anyone have a guess where we've heard that before? Yeah, in our 8 principles now. It's in our first principle that all people have inherent worth and dignity. You don't earn it. You don't have to get a college degree. You don't have to you don't have to give away everything that you own. You just are. We are all born sacred beings. This is similar to how in Buddhism also all beings contain Buddha nature. And so in Native American spirituality, all beings contain a spark of the divine, which you all have heard me say before also, that we all contain a spark of the divine. And so because all people have inherent worth and dignity, all people are trustworthy, all people are intelligent, all people are given space to express their sacred selves. And so in Native American culture and spirituality, education, vision quests, prayer, rituals, ceremonies, all of these things are there to help invite that sacred self into the world. And then all of these sacred beings help other sacred beings as part of a sacred community, whose responsibility it is to raise more sacred beings and pass down that culture. So is there something faith communities like ours can learn from that? I think so. I think we have a lot in common with the Blackfoot way of life already, based on how we believe that all beings have inherent worth and dignity, based on the fact that we are all here right now, whether on Zoom or in person, because we believe in the power and importance of community. We're meeting each other's needs right now. Some of us are hosting coffee hour, others are helping to keep us safe, some are looking after the children. I think we got a good thing going here. I think what we need to do is kind of push it outward a little bit. Bring some of what we have in here, this ethos, this belief in each other's in sacredness and the holiness and sacredness of all of creation, and push it outward. Take it beyond these walls, right? Because are we not already part of an interdependent web? We are. Let's take the coffee, right? How many hands touched the coffee from when it started as beans, wherever it was being grown, maybe in Costa Rica, to when it ended up as grounds in our freezers? How many hands touched it on the way? Who made your clothes? Did you make your own clothes? Who created the fabric? Who paved the roads that you drove on the way to church today, for those of us who did drive here today? Maybe for those of you on Zoom, it's going to be, who mined the minerals, that are in your smartphone? Who assembled your laptop? We are already dependent on one another, no matter how independent we like to think we are. And so it helps all of us if all of our basic needs are met, and if all of us are able to fully express our sacred selves. What a world this could be. Imagine what we could accomplish if each one of us knew that we would never go hungry. Imagine what we could accomplish if each one of us knew we would never be homeless. If we knew that we could give freely and never be without what we needed. Imagine what we could accomplish if we all trusted each other. What if we were aiming not for self-actualization, the actualization of ourselves, but community actualization? What if we were all the best version of ourselves and we could create a community that was the best version of itself? A world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Would that not be heaven? Would that not be heaven on earth? A place where we are all the best version of ourselves. A community that is the best version of itself. A world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. I think we would have no word for that other than paradise. May it be so. I invite everyone to remain in their seats for our next hymn, number 1011, Return Again, in the Teal hymnal.
This hymn was written by Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach, who is a rabbi in New York. And it's one that really lets you do just what the sermon talked about, and that is open a reflection into your soul to see your better self. We're going to sing this through one time as a congregation, then we'll sing it as a round, and just for variety's sake, we'll start with this side of the room this week, and then go to here. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again.
Just as the Blackfeet measured their wealth in terms of generosity, we too measure our wealth in terms of how generous we can be by sharing the plate every Sunday. In the month of October, we're sharing the plate with our holiday giving traditions. The winter holidays are a time of bounty for many, And there are also many who are left behind, such as the unhoused, those without family, and those families without means. Every year, we bring them Christmas cheer, such as by providing gift bags to the residents of Hope Mission's recovery home and shelter. Ken Johnston and Mikey are here to speak to us about how our work with the Hope Mission affects their clients. And I would like to invite you both up to speak.
Good morning, and thank you. Thank you. I come with a lot of gratitude in my heart, honestly. And first of all, thank you for inviting us to be here, and thank you in the past for the gift bags. I've been a recipient. Hope Mission Ministries consists of 5 nonprofits. Hope Recovery Homes is one of them. It's a substance use disorder program that helps many folks today. And man, what a great message. Thank you so much. Maslow's hierarchy, the physiological needs at the bottom, that's what our folks, that's where they're starting off. Many of them have lost everything due to the ravages of addiction. Many of them, 2/3 of our clients have come through the justice system, through the jails. We've gotten very involved with those folks, with us, really in the last 4 years. Currently, we have contracts with Carteret County Jail, Craven County Jail. We actually have 2 contracts there. We've been into the Pamlico County Jail, as well as just helping those folks that realize that haven't got to that point yet. They realize they're in a bad way. They might go to a hospital or a detox facility and start the process there and get some help, and they come to us. We're a 6-month program. We're very unique in the recovery world because we offer clinical side to addiction, we offer a spiritual side to addiction, we offer a 12-step side. Our clients live in residential homes for 6 months. They're away from their family and loved ones. And so, yes, the gift bags that are provided each year to help meet their physiological needs, again, because they have lost pretty much everything. And if I'm not careful, I'm going to go over 5 minutes, and I do want Mikey to be able to speak. I did go through our program 11 years ago. I am one of those stories. I can sit here and tell you my life has changed 180 degrees from where I was, what I was going through, to where I am today. I've been over Hope Recovery Homes for the last 6 years. I've been over Hope Mission, which is the community kitchen, the homeless shelter. I was over that for about 5 years. Again, I've been with the ministries, total of 11 years. I've seen many, many, many folks come and go. It's not for everybody. It's not everybody's time, but we do offer hope in a way that has helped many, many people. And again, it's such a collaboration with so many folks in the community, and we can't thank you folks enough for what you do to help support us to try and help people. Again, today we have 42 clients in our program with the anticipation of receiving 2 for sure this week, possibly 4. We'll be up around the 50 mark within the month, and 60 probably by the end of the year. So as you know, this addiction thing is not going away anytime soon, but we are seeing some progress. The county jails are happy at this time. We've just been in Craven for about a year and a half, and we're working through processes with them. But we've had great success and have a great relationship with Carteret County Jail and Sheriff Asa Buck and the commissioners, the opportunity that they do provide to give us an opportunity to try and help another human being. So at the end of the day, that's why we're here. Thank you. Mikey, like myself, came through the program coming up on 2 years ago. Just an amazing story, and he's become one of our leaders. He inspires me every day. So, Mikey, thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you all for having us. Ken alluded to a couple things already that I wanted to speak on. But part of the service today is something in the recovery world that is very important, and Reverend here spoke about the community. And without that community, there's not going to be any type of recovery, or at least not substantiated. I, today, with the help of Hope Mission, am a grateful recovering addict and alcoholic, and just an overall menace to society at the time. I spent quite a bit of time over in the jails, both in Craven and Carteret. And coming towards the end of my time, I was presented with the opportunity of, this great four-letter word of hope. And I petitioned Hope Recovery for a spot on one of their beds. I got accepted, and I come through the program, and I was a recipient of one of these gracious gift bags. And had it not been for that gift bag, I would not have, toothpaste, toothbrushes, and, other things that, on that hierarchy that make a person feel like a person again. And, so for that, I'm very grateful for anybody that was part of that. But so through my time of coming through Hope, it was other people. It was somebody else that gave out the hand, that the encouraging word, that showed love when I didn't love myself. And, that kind of gave me a purpose, which is another dimension of recovery. And it weighed on my heart to be able to give that back. And we have another program, it's called a peer support. And it is just somebody that has come through a program or come through the depths of hell and came out clean on the other side, and given somebody else that same hand up, not a handout, but somebody that walks along with somebody else with the same afflictions, so that so they don't have to do it alone. And that again is part of what the community is, and everybody can be part of that. And I'm very grateful to be able to do that. People like Mr. Johnson and Pastor Gene and anybody else that have their hands in the ministry. If it wasn't for each and every one of them, I wouldn't be standing here in front of y'all today. And I'm blessed as when we leave here today, I get to go hang out with my grandchildren. And for years I was ostracized from my own children, by my own actions. So I'm not putting that on anybody but myself. But today, with the help of the community and the many hands, I get to go play with them babies. And I get to be a productive member of society today. So thank you for all that you do for helping others, and continue to do so. And thank you for having us here today.
Thank you, Mikey and Ken. So I invite the greeters forward to collect today's offering. Please join in blessing this offering with hymn number 402, From You I Receive, and we'll sing it twice. I'm ready for the chalice extinguishing. Okay, thank you. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts again. And now in Espanol, extinguimos esta llama para no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad, o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevamos en el corazón hasta que estemos juntos otra vez. And now we invite everyone to rise as you are willing and able for our closing hymn. It's number 175 in the gray hymnal. We celebrate the web of life.
We celebrate the web of life, its magnitude we sing, for we can see divinity in every living thing. A fragment of the perfect whole in cactus and in quill, for much in tiny barnacle as in the great blue whale. Of ancient dreams we are the sum, our bones link stone to star, and bind our future worlds to come with worlds that were and are. Respect the water, land, and air, which gave all creatures birth. Protect the lives of all that share the glory of the earth.
All right, friends, it is our tradition here that we hold hands for the benediction. So if you are not comfortable holding hands, that is fine. You can find your way to the center of the circle or blob or amoeba that we are about to make.